Chapter 5. Bring information to life. Your mind is the greatest home entertainment center ever created. Mark Victor Hansen. Many people dream of having a photographic memory. They define it as the ability to take a quick mental picture of information without effort and then describe it in detail from memory. In this case, your mind would be like a camera taking photos of anything you need to know. Unfortunately, all perfect memory takes some conscious effort, and photographic memory is a myth. Memory is a creative process and not a photographic process. Many people who are thought to have a photographic memory are just using all the methods that you will learn in this book on some or other level. If you take these methods into your life, you will be tapping into your natural memory power too. Perfect memory is a skill and not some special gift. Have you ever had this experience? You are in an exam, and you know exactly what page the information is on, but you don't know what is on the page. Or you are reading something and you get to the bottom of the page and you think to yourself, what have I just read? The reason this happens is because you never brought the information to life. Think about it. What happens when you read a novel or a story? You make a kind of movie in your mind, don't you? You can remember all the names of the characters, places, and events because you can see it and you are creating pictures all the time while reading. You are using your imagination and your natural creative ability. However, when people start to learn textbook material, they try to make a mental photograph or recording of the page, but leave their creative abilities out of the learning process. People that learn quickly or have a so-called photographic memory apply their creativity to everything they learn. They may have either learned how to do this in the past, or they have been using the principles naturally and unconsciously. Most people try to remember information with their sense of sound. They repeat the information over and over again, hoping it will somehow stick. Sound is very limited because it doesn't attach easily to other memories. A sound is also always sequential. If you want to remember something with sound, you have to start at the beginning and work your way through the information. However, when you see information as an image in your mind, you can jump in and out of the information and therefore improve your understanding too. Any book that you really enjoy normally activates your imagination and brings the information to life. You naturally get engaged in the book and you battle to put it down because you don't want to turn the movie off. Your mind is like an internal movie screen on which you can ask it to produce information. This is how we think and learn effectively. Your brain creates miracles every day by converting lifeless information into pictures and ideas. When you become aware of this, every word becomes a picture drawn with letters because words are only symbols of three-dimensional images. Arthur Gordon said, "Isn't it amazing how we take them for granted?" Those little black marks on paper. 26 different shapes known as letters, arranged in endless combinations, known as words, lifeless, until someone's eye falls on them. If your brain was unable to make images out of symbols, all learning and reading would be worthless and incredibly boring. Your brain likes pictures, and we are really good at remembering them. As neuroscientist John Medina says, hear a piece of information, and 3 days later, you'll remember 10% of it. Add a picture, and you'll remember 65%. Some people say, I can't make pictures in my mind. We all make pictures in our mind. If you were unable to create or remember visual images, you would be severely handicapped. Learn to use your imagination. It is a learned skill and not a natural talent. Reading and understanding is also a creative imagination process. It is a power that can be compared to magic. We succeed in this area when we produce images in our mind. When we don't, we feel confused or ignorant. If I tried to explain to you how a car engine works, but you don't know what an engine looks like, or if I didn't have one for you to look at or a drawing to represent it, it would be really difficult to understand. The more we turn information into images or mind movies, the more we will remember and comprehend. We can learn to make all our learning more creative and memorable if we use our unlimited imagination. You can learn to enhance your memory imagination system by making your mind movies exciting and sticky. The way to do this is with the C principle. Use your S senses. There are only 5 ways to get anything into your brain, and that is through sight, sound, smell, touch, and taste. When you utilize your senses, you experience more of life, and you remember more. Our senses help us mentally recreate our world. If you train your senses, you will be using more of your brain, and if you learn to engage as many of your senses as you can, then you will automatically improve your memory. Think of a horse. See it in your mind, touch it, smell it, hear it, and even taste it. You didn't see the letters HORC in your mind. You saw a multisensory picture of what the word represents. Your senses make mind movies real and memorable. Use them. E. Exaggeration. What is easier to remember, a strawberry that is normal size or one the size of a house? Make your images larger or smaller than life. What is more memorable, an elephant or an elephant wearing a pink bikini? Exaggerate with humor. Tickle your mind. There is no scientific evidence to prove that learning should be serious. Make your images illogical. Have fun. Create some positive, exaggerated learning memories. E. Energize. Give your pictures action. Would you rather watch a movie of your holiday or a slideshow? What creates more feeling in your imagination? A horse standing still or a horse that is running and moving? Make your information vivid, colorful, and not boring, flat and black and white. Use action. It brings life to your memories. Make your images act in illogical ways. You can weave, crash, stick, or wrap things together. We can make things talk, sing, and dance. Think about the great genius Walt Disney. The process of imagination is a fun, creative process. The more enjoyment you can put into it, the better. When you are reading or hearing something, focus on all the C principles and imagine it is a movie. Even if you don't use a specific method that you will learn in this book, the CE principles will improve your concentration. Emile Coué pointed out that when the imagination and the will are in conflict, the imagination always wins. If you will yourself to remember, and your imagination is not on the task, you will have zero retention and recall. Your imagination is the place of all your memory power. Some people say, "This is not the way that I naturally think." This is not the way that I naturally think either. This is how I have taught myself to think, because it works. The more skilled you become in using your imagination, the more you can know, comprehend, and create. In this way, you become the director of your own mind. How do I turn abstract information into images? We remember nouns and adjectives with ease because they have meaning, and we can make a mental picture without much effort. Most abstract words can be made to mean something. Just use a meaningful thought or word to represent a meaningless word. Find a word or phrase that sounds the same or similar to the abstract word. Or you can break a word up into its individual sounds. Imagine you had to remember the name Washington. You could turn that word into a picture of you washing a tin. Or, if you had to remember the word hydrogen, you could see a picture of a fire hydrant drinking gin. You can turn all complex information into something meaningful and memorable by turning it into images. In the beginning, it will take a bit of effort on your part. You will have to invest your attention at first, and then it will become a habit. To practice, look at words, break them up, make a picture, and give it all more meaning. Let us learn a few foreign words for practice. Really imagine each word and create a C mini mind movie. First, we will use Spanish words. Tiger is tigre. It sounds like tea gray. Imagine a tiger drinking his tea that has turned gray. Sun is soul. Imagine that the sun is burning the sole of your one foot. Arm is brazo. Imagine a bra is sewn onto your arm. Some Italian words. Chicken is polo. You can imagine playing polo with a chicken instead of a ball. Cat is gatto. Imagine saying to your friend, "You've got to hold my cat." Some French words is livre. Sounds like liver, so you can imagine opening a book and finding squashed liver inside. Hand is main. My main hand is my right hand. Chair is chaise. Imagine you have shares in a chair. Some Zulu words. Dog is inja. Think of an injured dog. Floor is fancy. Imagine a pansy growing out of the floor. Snake is inyoka. Imagine a snake slithering in your car. Some Japanese words. Chest is mune. Imagine money growing out of your chest. Door is tu. Imagine you are kicking the door with your big toe. Carpet is jutan. Imagine you are tanning on a big carpet, or you tan a carpet. Test yourself. What is the Spanish word for tiger? What is the Italian word for cat? What is the Zulu word for dog? What is the Japanese word for chest? What is the French word for book? What is the Italian word for chicken? What is the Zulu word for snake? What is the French word for hand? What is the Japanese word for carpet? Just by connecting these words in a silly mind movie, you have learned 14 foreign words. You can use this method to remember hundreds of foreign words if you use the CE principle. Remember, you are only connecting 2 concepts at a time. If you imagine it for a few seconds, it will stick in your memory and it will be easy to recall if you need it. You can even use this method to remember all the countries and capitals. You just need to bring the information to life. The capital of Australia is Canberra. You can imagine a kangaroo represents Australia eating a can of berries, Canberra, and the two will stick together, making it more memorable. The capital of Greece is Athens. Imagine 8 hens, sounds like Athens, swimming in Greece. The capital of Madagascar is Antananarivo. Imagine a mad gas car crashing into your friend Anne, who is tanning on a river. The capital of Belgium is Brussels. Imagine Brussels sprouts falling out of a bell doing gym, Belgium. Make a silly picture and really see it, and you can remember all the capitals with ease. The greatest secret of a powerful memory is to bring information to life with your endless imagination. Take responsibility for your memory. You can only learn to control your memory when you become the source of your imagination. Memory is not a thing that happens to you. You create your memories. You can make any information into something more meaningful. When we start using the memory systems, you will see how easy it is to convert abstract information into meaningful concepts. Using all these memory methods improves your creativity, enhances your memory, and your humor too. Chapter 6. Use your car. Remember. Making the simple complicated is commonplace. Making the complicated simple, awesomely simple. That's creativity. We have just learned to bring information to life by turning information into pictures or mind movies. Now we need to learn to create files for pictures from our long-term memory. This will assist us in remembering new information. These systems require you to think differently. I always think it is amazing how people want to improve their memory and concentration, but they do more of the same thing and expect a different result. You have to do different to become different. The method that I will share with you now is called the CAR method. Our car is a great long-term storage compartment because we know it well and can easily navigate it in our mind. With this method, as with all of them, I want you to see the images in your mind. Remember, every word in any language is only a picture drawn with letters. Get rid of your excuses like, I'm not creative, or I don't think like this. This isn't how I think either. This is how I have trained myself to think, because it works. These methods may seem silly, but just go with it. I promise that you will see the point and you will remember the information. These systems take long for me to explain, but they work at the speed of thought. The only reason it won't work for you is if you don't do it. We are going to use nouns for this exercise because they are easy to imagine and therefore easier to control and store. Then in the second exercise and the rest of the book, we will use more abstract information. Follow the images in your mind and let's see how much you remember. See your car in your mind and imagine you squeeze a big apple into the front grid of your car. Take a carrot and stab it into the bonnet. On the windscreen, see grainy bread and think to yourself, the grainy bread is going to damage my windscreen wipers. Get inside your car and squash dried fruit on the dashboard. Really see it go into your speedometer. On the driver's seat, imagine you are sitting on blueberries and strawberries. Really feel it. Throw eggs at the person sitting in the passenger seat next to you. They now have egg on their face. Imagine you are pouring thousands of nuts and seeds onto your back seat. Go outside your car and imagine a massive orange on your roof. You open the boot and it is full of fish. Really smell the fish. In the exhaust pipe, there is broccoli and Brussels sprouts growing out of the exhaust. And finally, the tires of your car are made out of sweet potatoes. Sweet. Go through your car from the beginning to the end and see if you can remember all the information. If a word didn't stick, go back, make the connection stronger, and see it more clearly in your mind. What you have just learned are 14 superfoods, foods that have been shown to improve your vitality and keep your mind agile and alert. Not only do you know the list forwards, but you also know it backwards and inside and out. What is on the roof? What are the car tires made of? What was on the driver's seat? What was on the bonnet of the car? Your mind automatically makes the connection and answers the question for recall. Now that you really know it, it is easier to use and think about. Some people say, but now I have to remember the car too. You are giving me more to remember. That is not true. With all of the systems, you will be using something that is already in your memory. In fact, you are using all of the unused space in your long-term memory. You remembered the entire list and with ease. Now, why does this system work so well? If you throw water into a sieve, it goes in and straight through. If you put a packet into the sieve, the water will get trapped. Your memory works in the same way. Your long-term memory, things that are in your memory forever, like your name and what your house looks like, etc., is like the packet that can be used to trap short-term information. New information coming in, like a new telephone number. When you have managed to do that, you make a strong medium-term memory, MTM. With the car list, your whole car is in your long-term memory, LTM. LTM offers you a place to store the information. The locations in the car become storage compartments for the short-term memories, STM. All the memory methods work with my formula. LTM plus STM equals MTM. These methods also organize information, therefore making it easier to find. What is easier to remember? Super memory or Yomer Pures? Same letters, but very different meaning. And the second is harder to memorize. The more order you put into a subject, the easier it will be to remember. The secret to accelerated learning is superior organization. We can use other cars to remember other new information too. Here is a picture of a car with 7 images on it. It shouldn't conflict with the food car because it opens up a new memory file. Look at the picture below and make sure that you can clearly recreate the whole image in your mind. Break the images down. Look at each place and make sure that each one sticks to its place. Have you done that? Good. What you have just learned are Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. By remembering all 7 images, you are creating points of reference within your mind for each of the habits. When you have it in your memory, it will be easier to gauge if you are living the 7 habits. When you mentally look at the car, you will instantly be able to recall all the information. Remember, the more you know, the easier it is to get to know more. Let me explain each of the pictures. The 7 habits are as follows. Habit 1, be proactive. I thought of a bee that is a pro golfer. That picture should be enough to trigger habit 1. Habit 2, begin with the end in mind. The brain is running a race and looking at the end in mind. Habit 3, put first things first. The man is in first position, putting first things first. Habit 4, think win-win. The 2 trophies show that everyone wins with win-win. Habit 5, seek first to understand, then to be understood. The man under the umbrella will stand up. Habit 6, synergize. Sign balancing on the edge with eyes. Habit 7, sharpen the saw on the tire of the car. With your memory, always use as few pictures as possible to remember as much as possible. The more simple and clear it is, the less you will feel overwhelmed. You can also make the connection that the first 3 habits are the private victory. The front of your car is private. You are the only one that opens the bonnet of your car. Habits 4, 5, and 6 are the public victory. In the car, you allow others to get into your car. It is public. Habit 7 is outside the car. The 7th habit keeps everything else in check. Remember these habits. Read the book to get more understanding and retention, and live them. As Stephen Covey said, habits can be learned and unlearned. But I also know it isn't a quick fix. It involves a process and a tremendous commitment. In this chapter, you have been able to remember 21 bits of useful information. These methods help you to organize information more clearly, and therefore you will be using more of your memory power and potential. All the methods in this book help you to store information that can be used. You can make many more storage compartments in and on your car. If you think about it, you can use every detail of your car to find at least 100 places to store new information in your memory. You can also use any other forms of transport, buses, trains, airplanes, ships, or even spaceships as storage files or compartments. Chapter 7. Use your body to remember. The music of your life is far better played with all the fingers of your multiple intelligences performing their magic on the keyboard of your existence. Tony Buzan. The quote you have just read was taken from Tony's book called Head First. In his book, he talks about how we have at least 10 intelligences. We don't just have one way of being clever, but at least 10 and probably more. I like to remember these intelligences to remind myself how incredible we all are and to focus on improving them daily. But before I get ahead of myself, let me demonstrate how to remember these intelligences with another system. It is called the body method. It is similar to the car method, but this time we are using parts of our body to store the new information. Your body is another great long-term storage compartment. You are in it every day and you know it well. There are plenty of storage compartments that you can use, but for demonstration purposes, I'm only going to use 10 places. With this method, we are going to place 10 key bits of information on our body. The information is a bit more abstract. It will require you to think more creatively, so let's give it a go. The first place that we are going to store information on is our feet. The first intelligence is creative intelligence. So I want you to imagine that you are standing on a big, bright light bulb. A light bulb always reminds me of creative ideas, and it is burning your feet. To strengthen the association, you can also imagine you are painting a beautiful work of art on your feet. On the second place, your knees, we are going to store personal intelligence. Now imagine a big purse. Sounds like personal on your knees. Create a bit of action with this picture. Imagine opening the purse on your knees and your knees come flying out of it. Personal intelligence is about taking responsibility, so own the purse on your knees. The next storage compartment is your thighs. Here we will store social intelligence. Imagine people having a big party, social on your thighs. Really see the party and feel it happening on your thighs now. The next place is your belt or hips, and we will store spiritual intelligence there. Imagine a beautiful angel on your belt, or that the angel is buckling your belt for you. Angels remind me of spirituality. Now review all the previous images from your feet to your hips. The words are creative, personal, social, and spiritual. Next is your physical intelligence, and we will store it on your stomach. Imagine you get physical, start doing sit-ups, and your stomach all of a sudden becomes muscular. It becomes the perfect six-pack. Imagine in your left hand your sensual intelligence. Here you can imagine a snotty nose, ears, and eyes to remind you of all of your senses. Then in your right hand place, sexual intelligence. Here you can make up your own picture. Now let's review quickly. We have creative, personal, social, spiritual, physical, sensual, and sexual. The next place is your mouth. Imagine big, bright, colorful numbers flying out of your mouth, numerical intelligence. Or you can only speak in numbers. On your nose, see a spaceship landing on your nose and forehead, spatial intelligence. Or see a spaceship flying up your nose. Finally, on the top of your head, imagine writing words on your hair, or your hair starts talking, verbal intelligence. Let's review the body list. The creative and emotional intelligences. Legs create motion. That is to remind you that the creative and emotional intelligences are stored on your feet and legs. 1. Creative intelligence. 2. Personal intelligence, self-knowledge, self-fulfillment, and understanding self. 3. Social intelligence. 4. Spiritual intelligence, the bodily intelligences, all stored on the biggest part of your body, on your torso. 5. Physical intelligence. 6. Sensual intelligence. 7. Sexual intelligence. The traditional IQ intelligences, the head intelligences. 8. Numerical intelligence. 9. Spatial intelligence. 10. Verbal intelligence. Tony Buzan says we are now entering the intelligence age, so it is vitally important that you know more about your amazing intelligences. The body method also helps you structure the information so that you can easily jump in and out of the material. When you read head first, the body list will act as a powerful memory matrix that will attract more information and improve your understanding and recognition of the content. If you hear any other list of intelligences, like Howard Gardner's, you can easily slot the information into its relevant compartment. When you hear people discussing IQ, you will also immediately know, Remember that IQ only tests three intelligences, the head intelligences. Most of us have been taught to think that we are either intelligent or we are not. But the definitions of intelligence we learned at school were built around the specific types of intelligence that are most valued at school: verbal intelligence and numerical intelligence. Paul McKenna. The body method was originally invented by the ancient Greeks. You can use this method to remember information for exams, work, shopping lists, or any list of information. You can even use it to remember things when you don't have a pen at hand, like when you are in the shower. I just used 10 places as an example, but you can use your back, your ears, eyes, nose. You can use it all. Just make sure you connect the two in a humorous way, remember the C principles, and that you remember the order. I have been able to use this method to remember 50 bits of information. I like to use this system to remember information so that I can consistently look at the information and have it at my fingertips. Chapter 8, Information Down. The existence of forgetting has never been proved. We only know that some things don't come to mind when we want them. Friedrich Nietzsche. Have you ever had this experience? You smell something, and instantly your memory takes you back to another time? The smell is a link to the experience. Or you hear a song, and a whole stream of memories are released from your mind? We can consciously take control of this reminder principle to create another system for our memory skills toolbox. This is the first system that I ever learned, and it introduced me to my memory potential. It worked so well that it seemed like a trick, and ever since that day, I have been hooked on the power of my memory. I hope it has a similar effect for you. It is called the PEG method of memory. We are going to explore the power of your associative mind. We're going to learn 2 new PEG methods of memory. The first is called the rhyming PEG method, and the other the shape PEG method. These secrets were brought to our conscious awareness by John Sambrook and Henry Hurdson in the late 1700s. These methods are very simple and effective. It will provide you with a method that can help you remember 40 or more bits of information in a short space of time. You can even remember the information in random order and by number. Let me explain the first method, the rhyming pegs. The pegs act in much the same way as clothes pegs. They keep information hanging around in your mind. The pegs themselves must become part of your long-term memory for them to work. Remember, you always need your long-term memory to assist your short-term memory. With this method, you associate new information to long-term memory pegs in your mind. The pegs also act as compartments or files for your new thoughts. The method is simple. It makes memory pegs out of rhyming words, and we will use the following rhyming words as mental files. 1 rhymes with the word bun, 2, shoe 3, tree 4, door 5, hikes, sticks, 7, heaven 8, gate 9, vine 10, hen. Now each one of these pegs can become compartments to store new information. You link the peg, using the C principle, to the words that you want to remember. In Anthony Robbins' life-changing book, Awaken the Giant Within, he has a list of the 10 emotions of power. I want you to use this new system so that you can hold these emotions in your mind. Think about them daily, because personal development only happens when you can remember what you need to act on. The 10 emotions of power are: 1, love and warmth; 2, appreciation and gratitude; 3, curiosity; 4, excitement and passion; 5, determination; 6, flexibility; 7, confidence; 8, cheerfulness; 9, vitality; 10, contribution. Remember to make the images illogical. See the information in your mind for a few seconds. Take your time and make the association strong. You can also draw an image to help you experience the information more. 1 bun. Imagine a heart, symbol for love, shaped warm bun, or imagine that thousands of warm hearts are flying out of a bun. Really visualize it, and you will remember that 1 is love and warmth. 2 shoe. Imagine that a preacher is grating a shoe with a cheese grater. I used a preacher to remind you of appreciation and a grater for gratitude. 3 tree. Imagine a cat in the tree. Don't make it logical. Maybe imagine that the branches look like cats. Cats are hanging off the branches, or cats are growing out of the tree. Curiosity killed the cat. So 3 is curiosity. 4 door. Imagine an excited person bashing down your door. Or the door is so excited it jumps up and down and opens and closes. You squeeze passion fruit on the excited door. 4 is excitement and passion. 5 hive. Imagine determined bees or determined terminators trying to break open a beehive. Bees are a determined nation. Determination is 5. 6 sticks. Imagine hitting a flexible person that is doing the splits with a stick, or really feel how flexible the stick can be. 6 is flexibility. 7 heaven. Imagine heaven is full of confident people. See them walking tall with confidence that they are in paradise. 7 is confidence. 8 gate. See a smiley face shaped gate. You cheerfully open the cheerful gate. 8 is cheerfulness. 9 vine. See vitamins growing on a vine. As you eat these vitamin grapes, you feel your sense of vitality improve. 10 hen. Imagine a hen giving you presents. She is a contributing hen. 10 is contribution. Now really see each link picture in your mind and make it clear. You should now know these emotions forwards, backwards, and in random order. Test yourself to see if you have them all. Practice feeling these emotions because you become good at what you practice. Anthony Robbins says, "You are the source of all your emotions. You are the one who creates them." Plant these emotions daily and watch your whole life grow with vitality that you've never dreamed of before. The rhyme method can be extended by finding more words that rhyme with the number, e.g., one, bun, sun, tum, gum, and gun. With this method, you can easily create a peg system that you can use to store up to 30 bits of new information. Pegging also has no limits. You can create other lists too. Here's the second short peg list that you can use, the shape system. It converts numbers into concrete shapes. It works in the same way as the rhyme list, only this time the pegs are shaped like the number. We are not going to do an exercise with this system because you have already learned the principle in the rhyme list. Use this list on your own to remember 10 bits of new information, play with it, and have a bit of fun. The shape method just gives you another option to use. Here is the list. These peg lists create so many new possibilities. You can create all kinds of peg lists. You can use any list that is already in your long-term memory. You can make up words for each letter of the alphabet, e.g. apple, bucket, cat, dolphin, etc. Use any list that you already know well, your favorite football players, superheroes, pop stars, or any list that you can remember in order. Enjoy using this method and find new ways to improve it. Chapter 9. In the first place, whatever you think about, that's what you remember. Memory is the residue of thought. Daniel T. Willingham. The system that you are about to discover is the most incredible tool you will ever learn. It will help you grow in ways that you could never imagine. It is so simple. It has been around for 2,500 years, and yet few have harnessed its potential. You can use this system to remember any information and mountains of it. It takes practice, but once you use it, you will never look back. This method is the original and still the most effective of all the systems. Using this system is as easy as remembering a journey. Some people think this method is too simple to work, but it works because it doesn't overwhelm you. It is the same process as the car and body list, but only this time we are using places or markers on a location, journey, or route to store information. Here is how it works. 1. Prepare in your mind an organized location, e.g. a house layout, a journey, or a shopping center. 2. Create markers or places on this location, same as what we did with the body and car list, in an easy-to-follow order. 3. Make a clear image using the SE principles of the information that you would like to remember. 4. Place each item you are trying to remember on each of the marked locations. In short, it is as simple as finding a place like a route, journey, or building in your mind to store the information. Then you store it. This system makes remembering large amounts of information as easy as remembering a trip to the nearest shop. You are using the formula again. Long-term memory plus short-term memory equals medium-term memory. Let me introduce you to the journey method with a short exercise. We are going to store 12 useful principles from one of John C. Maxwell's books. I really enjoy his books because they are always very well organized and therefore making storing information easier. He normally creates a summary list of the topics that he will cover, and then he writes in more detail about each topic. You can use the systems to remember all of his lists and laws and become an expert in leadership. Once the information is in a memorable matrix, it will start to attract more information to it. It helps long-term storage and use. When you have it in your head, it is so much easier to use, because what is the use of information if you can't recall what you know? In his book, Today Matters, he shares 12 keys that you can focus on daily to get more success and fulfillment in your life. As he says, you will never change your life until you change something you do daily. He calls them the Daily Dozen. Here are the keys. 1. Attitude. 2. Priorities. Health. 4. Family. 5. Commitment. 7. Finances. Faith. 9. Relationships. 10. Generosity. 11. Values. 12. Growth. Most people will repeat the list of information over and over again and try to force it into their memory. Rote learning and constant repetition creates an aversion to learning, and it is frustrating. The more you can encode information into your memory, the more effective the learning. Let's use a method to find the fun in frustration. Now, all that we have to do is to focus attention and connect each thought to a place. Try this little exercise with me. I am going to be using 4 rooms in my house as a journey to give you an example of how you can use this system. The rooms are compartments in my mind that I can use to store new information. Let me guide you through the house and let's store the information together. Make sure that your markers are all in an easy-to-follow order. Then review your markers to make sure you have clear storage compartments. The places must also be near each other, but nicely spaced out. Here is a mental map of 4 rooms in my house and 12 places that we will use, and they are: Room 1, kitchen. 1, washing machine. 2, fridge. 3, stove. Room 2, TV room. 4, chairs. 5, TV. 6, exercise bike. Room 3, bedroom. 7, mirror. 8, cupboards. 9, bed. 10, bath. 11, shower. 12, toilet. If I gave you a box with 12 objects in it, would you be able to place it on the furniture in my house? Of course you would. Now all we do is turn the information into something tangible, like an object, and then place them in the room. We start in the kitchen. The first word is attitude. Imagine someone with a really bad attitude jumping into your washing machine. Clean up his attitude in the machine. See it. At the next place, imagine writing all of your priorities on the fridge door. Use a permanent marker and think about how your priorities are permanently stored on the fridge door. Imagine a healthy bodybuilder making an apple pie and shoving it into the stove. The apples are also a reminder for health. So what was in the washing machine? On the fridge? At the stove? Now we move to the TV room. The first place there is the chairs. Imagine your whole family is jumping up and down on the chairs. The more illogical the image, the more it will stick. The second place is the all TV. Imagine a thought bubble coming out of the TV, because it is a thinking machine. It also influences our thinking. The final place in the room is the exercise bike. So imagine combing reminds you of commitment, the exercise bike. It is also a commitment to use the bike. In my bedroom, the first place is the mirror, and here imagine money flying out of the mirror. Your finances are a mirror of your productivity. Whatever represents faith for you, place it inside the cupboard. Put faith on every shelf or hanger. The next word we want to place on our memory journey is relationships, and that is on the bed. Okay, you can make your own picture here. The final room is the bathroom. See a genie jumping out of the bath, and he gives you what you wish. The genie giving reminds us of generosity. Imagine the shower is made out of gold, or you open the taps and gold runs out of it. Gold has great value and represents values. At the last place, we imagine a tree growing out of the toilet for growth. What was the word connected to each place? Excellent. That is now your first memory route or journey, and it will begin to open your mind to the possibility of having a perfect memory. You have just learned the 12 keys in John Maxwell's book, Today Matters, and it was as easy as walking around my house. You will remember all the words if you have connected them properly. Go through it a few times, and you will know the Daily Dozen. You will get better results with this method if you used your own environment because you are more aware of the order of the places. Review the list backwards, and you will notice that it will all still be there. By reviewing it backwards, you make the images clearer for your memory. If you made clear images and placed them on the route, the list will be very memorable. This method helps you to see the big picture and zoom into the details. The concepts are brought to life and become concrete. It is always easier to remember something that is experienced in your mind. We remember what we think about. Now think about this information that you have learned. Buy Today Matters and focus on making small changes in these areas daily, and remember it to live it. This journey or route method shows you what is possible. Every great memory person uses this method more than any other. It is so effective because you can make thousands of storage places. Think about how many markers you can make. We all have a brilliant memory for journeys. You have visited many places in your life. You can use buildings, museums, schools, shopping centers, and almost any location that you know. Make sure they are places you know well, that have significance to you, and they have lots of variety. You can make your routes as long as you want. You can have a place or route for every subject you are learning. Remember to have fun. This system will change the way that you learn forever. The only effort is trying to improve your ability to make images and placing it on a familiar mental journey. It will feel like you are cheating. It is like having crib notes or a teleprompter inside your head. The journey is like the paper, and the images are like the ink. Your imagination can create any information on a familiar journey. It will change your life. You can use it to remember all kinds of information. I have helped medical students, law students, pilots, managers, and business people remember all kinds of information with this method. I used this method to store the first 10,000 digits of pi. A friend of mine, Dr. Yip Sui Chui, remembered the whole Oxford Dictionary, 1774 pages, word for word with this method. Anyone can store an unlimited amount if they choose to spend the time. Some people say, I will run out of space. If I gave you a truck full of objects to place in a shopping mall, would you be able to do that? Of course you would. If you look for it, you will find thousands and thousands of places just waiting to be used in your mind. There are no limits to this system, only limits in your own thinking. The important thing is that you practice. The more you practice, the better you will get. No memory is ever alone. It's at the end of a trail of memories, a dozen trails that each have their own associations. Louis L'Amour. In the previous chapters, we learned to bring information to life and to store it in a long-term memory compartment system. Now in this chapter, we are going to learn to link more thoughts together. It is a way to direct attention and to strengthen your imagination and your ability to associate concepts. Your mind is an associating machine and it has no limits. I often hear people say, oh, do you learn by association? The answer to that is, we only learn by association. Learning is connecting new information to old information. It doesn't happen any other way. It is creating a relationship between the known and the unknown. And the more you know, the easier it is to connect more information and get to know more. Now let's memorize a list together to experience this method. It will seem silly, but stick with it, and I will make a point. This story takes longer for me to explain than what happens in your mind. Read it and remember to use the C principle. I want you to imagine that you are washing a tin. Really see it in your mind. As you wash the tin, it suddenly begins developing a huge Adam's apple. A chef and her son grab the Adam's apple and rip it out. The chef and her son then decide to make some medicine, which they give to Marilyn Monroe, and she starts to develop a massive Adam's apple too. Michael Jackson sees her Adam's apple throbbing and runs away screaming and jumps into a van with beer in it. The van is being driven by a big yellow hairy son. Really see it. Make it silly, hairy, and let it stick. The hairy son doesn't drive very well and crashes into a tiler tilling his wall. The tiler's tiles are polka dot tiles. A tailor takes the polka dots off and starts tailoring you a polka dotted suite. Now recall the story and all the key words. If you didn't get it all, read it again and make the links stronger. See if you can do it backwards too. What you have just learned are the first 12 presidents of the USA. You can continue remembering all 44 presidents just by linking one thought to the next. If you have any problems recalling the list, just make it more outstanding and make the links clearer. Here is the list of the first 12 presidents. 1. Washing a tin, Washington. 2. Adam's apple, Adams. 3. A chef and her son sounds like Jefferson. 4. Medicine sounds like Madison. 5. Marilyn Monroe. 6. Adam's apple, Adams. 7. Michael Jackson. Jackson. 8. A van with beer in, Van Buren. 9. A hairy son, Harrison. 10. A tiler, a person who lays tiles, Tyler. 11. Polka dots, Polk. 12. Taylor, Taylor. Once you have the list in your mind, go through it forwards and backwards a few times to make sure it is all there. You can also link more information to the list so it becomes like a new peg list. You could link each vice president to your presidents, just like we did with the foreign words and capitals. You can also connect your links or stories to some of the other systems that you have learned. You can link more than one concept at a specific place or compartment on the car, body, pegs, or journey method. This way you can remember thousands of words or concepts by connecting links to a short mental journey. It is so powerful because we use more of our creativity and imagination to make the information outstanding, and therefore stimulating our interest and curiosity, keeping our attention at a peak. Each word reminds you of the next. You are making your own links, and you are only memorizing 2 things at a time. You can also use this method to memorize paragraphs of information. All that you have to do is condense everything down to a list of keywords and then convert those lists into meaningful link stories. A whole syllabus or a book can be condensed into a ridiculous story. When you do this, it is easy to remember, giving you a great mental workout, and it is fun.